Cyndi Seidelman here, and it's time for another exciting edition of The Home Game. Now, over the past 3 weeks, we talked about Milton Bradley, we talked about Pressman, we talked about a Merv Griffin game show, we've talked about a Heater Quigley game show, but now it's time to do 2 more companies. Cardinal Industries for a board game, and Bob Stewart for a production company. And this develops into the $25,000 pyramid from 1986 via Cardinal Industries. Now, there's something I want to talk about Cardinal Industries first. They started to come out around the 80s, and they had board game translations of Pyramid. They also came out with the $1 million Chance of a Lifetime and Finders Keepers. If you want to take a look at how bad the $1 million Chance of a Lifetime is, or how skinny that game really is, I did a full Game Show Garbage induction on that. You can check it out at the Game Show Garbage website. As for Finders Keepers, I heard that game is particularly bad. But it's kind of hard to come by. I think it goes for around $30-40 on eBay. So, yeah, that's something I'm not willing to plunk the money down, so that's something I'll have to find in the wild. But Pyramid is seriously one of the best home game conversions of the 80s. And I'm going to talk more about that as we set everything up and play this wonderful thing. Right, as we open up this box, there's the handsome America's oldest teenager, Dick Clark, on the box, as you can see. Right there, I do believe. And also, if you take a look at the box, it's got the look of the original $25,000 pyramid, or 10, 20, or 50. But that doesn't matter. What matters is what's inside. And when I bought this, I'll show you, a lot of this stuff wasn't used. Like for here are some of the bonus. This is a bonus game board. And on the back you would have your categories. And I'll show that off in a bit. But how the board itself is, how this board is set up is, this is how the thing looks. After the beep, you can't win them all, yada yada. And right here is the feet to put the board on. Now, one flaw about this is it does damage the bottom right here. It will scrape it. You kind of get them in, just to try to get them in. There you go. And as I'm trying to see if it looks,
It only looks good if it's tilted up like this.
Right. As you see the board, it does kind of have the home game feel, and right here you can see the score counters going all the way up to 21. Actually, it goes up to 23. I think they have that. I don't know why it goes to 22 or 23, because the max you can score is 21. Maybe they recycled it from another Cardinal Industries game. I can't tell, but it doesn't really detract from the game itself. I mean, the original version, for the first few months, you could score 8 on a category and score at max 24. But this is a front game board all set up. After the beep, you can't win them all, down Main Street, a run for your money, bend but never break, and at your service. That'd be at the front. This is what the contestants would see, and on the back is, you know, what you would have to describe. Like, for example, you know, you get it. For example, after the beep, things could have a message. You can't win them all, famous losers. I'm looking at these names. The Dodgers are on here. Maybe you could replace that with Clayton Kershaw. I don't know how. But Germany, yeah, you can tell this is definitely 80s because you got Gary Hart on here, who at the time I believe was running for president and got caught in a adultery scandal and it torpedoed his presidential chances. It's kind of how the Democrats ended up with Mondale in '84. But then again, they could have put up anybody and they weren't losing to Ronald Reagan then. But yeah, that is the front game, and what you would do is you would play the category, and it would come with this egg timer, which would last 30 seconds.
Nothing fell out.
And while that is ticking down, this egg timer will slowly tick away, and you keep on doing your category thing, and once 30 seconds is up, or give or take a couple of seconds, because it is a hourglass egg timer sort of thingamabobber.
Let's go ahead and find
and you would do another category. And when you do the bonus game, I don't know how it comes with these, but I don't know what you're supposed to do. Maybe you plug them in right here, but they would kind of fall through, I guess. So I don't know how you would work that. But you can play 50 rounds of this, which is 50 front games and 50 end games, which is a lot more than you get in the newer version of the $100,000 pyramid, where you get, look how thick. This is like printer paper. This is like a ream of printer paper. And it's 100 pieces of paper, a little bit thicker than paper, but that's supposed to be 50 games, and they're labeled right up here, Game 43 Part 2, or Game 2 Part 1. Part 1 is your front game, Game 2 is, well, Part 2 is your winner circle. So if you want to play a full show, you get 25 full shows, which is a lot of material to get out of a game like this, which is roughly around the same amount of games you'd be able, full shows, you'd be able to play with something like Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy. Or if you want to do the best of 3 format, I think Classic Concentration had enough to pull that off. But I gotta say this. It's the simplistic board games and the simplistic setups that make it enjoyable. And with the pyramid, I don't think you could go wrong with this at all. Now, I know Milton Bradley did 8 versions of the original runs of Pyramid. I know there was a bunch of $10,000 versions. There was a couple of 20s. There was even a $50,000 version. And that's something I kind of want to find. I want to find those old versions of Pyramid and see how they stack up to the Cardinal Industries one. While it essentially is a piece of cardboard and pre-made categories and all that fun stuff, it's a damn good job that they did. And it is probably the best Cardinal Industries game show board game that they've made. And sadly, this is the only board game of the 80s version that we got. I know there was a computer game made, I think around 87, but I don't remember it that well. And apparently there was going to be a NES Pyramid home game by Game Tech, but something happened and it never got released. I heard they were working on it, but something must have fell through. Well, anyway, there's not much to say about this except that it's really well done, and you're going to get a lot of games out of it, but you're going to have to search for it. I've seen this on eBay go for about 30, 40 bucks, so you got to go thrift storing. Look through your Goodwills, Value Villages, Savers, or, your mom and pops that are out there. And if you're a game show fan, this is the ultimate version of Pyramid that you should pick up. Well, that's going to do it for me. I am Cyndi Seidelman, and like Dick Clark says, so long.